Yo, Doom Eternal looks dope though, but I think like something about the game rubs me the wrong way. I feel like, okay, hear me out. Like, I think the game looks cool, and from what I heard, like everyone's really enjoying it. But this may sound really weird, but I don't think the game is gory enough. Like, the gore in that game looks a little bit too cartoony. Right? Like, it's kind of like comparing like Gears of War 1, 2, 3 with the current Gears of War 4 and 5. Right? Like, Gears of War 1, 2, 3 felt more gory. Because you could like stomp on people and like you feel their bodies like move around and like the blood splatters even more dynamically. It has that like bad boy aspect to it. But I feel like Doom Eternal, as like badass as it seems, it doesn't have that X factor where like I really feel like I'm ripping the shit out of them demons, you know? Like, if the game doesn't want you to go to a specific area, they would create an invisible wall. And sometimes that kind of pulls you out of the game because you would want to go there, and it's like, boom, hey, you're in a video game, silly, you know? And like, personally, like what I notice about Doom Eternal is like, it looks kind of like violent and gory, but I think it's a cartoony gory. It's not the kind of gore and violence that I kind of look for, like when I play like a Gears of War 1. Right, even the Gears of War 4 and 5 aren't that gory anymore. The blood splatters are like cartoony. It doesn't feel like visceral. Like if you cut someone, you can like see their like guts rip out, things like that. Like a lot of things just either explode, or you see their heads just like roll on the floor. Right? There's none of that like blood like into the screen. The entire screen becomes bloody. Like, I want a game to be like that, you know? I think that's why, in general, Xbox is losing its edge. Because back when Xbox 360 was killing it, a lot of their titles were super mature. If you look at Dead Rising, Gears of War, it was like ultra violent, ultra like hardcore. And that was what was so appealing about Xbox. It was like a big boy system, you know? And now if you look at like Gears of War, or you look at like Dead Rising, it's like Fortnite. That game doesn't look like Gears anymore, man. That game looks like Fortnite. Like, another example I can give you guys is like when Blizzard created Diablo 3. Diablo 3 looks so cartoony. It looked like another World of Warcraft game, you know? And when people like us, the OG, played it, it doesn't feel like a Diablo game, you know? And that's why like currently Blizzard is trying to make a Diablo game that kind of like throws back to the old Diablo 1 and 2, you know, where it's like dark, it's gritty, it's like depressing. There's none of that like rainbow, like colorful shit. That's why whenever I watch like the Gears of War 4 or 5 like trailers or gameplay, I'm like, what the hell is this shit? You know, like, why is there so much color? You know, it doesn't feel scary anymore. You know, I don't mind pretty gore, right? Like, I like pretty gore, but I think like the market right now is like lacking in terms of like serious like hardcore violent games. And the problem is because it's about the money, right? They're trying to not make it like too like fucked up because like kids can't buy the game, you know? You know, when I was a kid, I had a lot of trouble buying Gears of War. Like I was like really young, man, and like I when I played that game, bro, holy shit. I remember it like it was yesterday. Like I think I was in a mall when I was a kid, and they had like an Xbox booth, right? They had like a big event, and I was not really into Xbox. I was like, yo, PlayStation till the day I die, you know, represent triangle, square, circle, X, you know, like I'm about PlayStation. But I think the game they were featuring in that booth was like Gears of War 1. This was when the game was about to be released, and I stood there for a good 45 minutes just staring at the screen like this. It was like that visceral, amazing, and like your character's like running forward and you see like the speed, you see the blood splatter when you like chainsaw the motherfucker down, you like blow his entire body up with the shotgun. There was like that bad boy aspect that I kind of missed from the PlayStation. Because when the PlayStation was on the come up, and this was when PlayStation 1 first came onto the scene, it kind of used like badassery to gain its initial audience. So when people were really used to Nintendo games back in the day, like Mario 64 or whatever, you know, like they weren't used to games that have like violence and sexual themes, like Metal Gear Solid, you know, Resident Evil. So when PlayStation came out of the gate, they had like that bad boy feel to it. And that was what I felt about the Xbox 360. When that system came out, it had that extra edge of violence and like visceralness and like pow, you know, it felt like dope as fuck. They had like Mass Effect, you know, Dead Rising, BioShock, Gears of War, Halo, everything looked so good. And now like when companies try to dial it back, they're like, hey, let's not put so much violence in our games, you know, like let's make the blood more like pink. You know, let's like roll heads instead of like having it explode. I don't know, man. That's why Xbox failed in my opinion. None of their games felt badass anymore. So yeah, man, that's my rant about like video game systems. Like, I can easily go back and play my 360 and like feel it's way more badass than like Xbox One X, whatever.